Someone tell me if you watching this, nobody watching this. I didn't know how the audio sound. It's really just a test run so we can get the audio right. We've been having some audio issues. It's a small test run. If anybody watching this, let us know how the audio sound. If anybody watching this, let us know how the audio sound. It's a little test run. We've been having audio problems. Let us know how the audio sound. Can you hear us? We breaking up. You hear? You hear? Okay. All right, I'm gonna plug in the mic so that way it sound better. Sounds good? All right, I'm gonna plug in the mic so it sound better. We just wrapped up at City Market. I don't know why I'm yelling. We just wrapped up the fourth. This the third City Market? Third? No, fourth. Yeah, because they arrested me in court at the first one. I wasn't there. The second one I was there, but it was real rainy. The third one, they arrested me and Ari for chalk, and now this one, no arrest. Fourth City Market in the books. Kay here with me. We gonna go live. We gonna let it rock. We gonna chop it up, talk about some of the things that happened at City Market. We gonna try to get in the groove of whoever from the organization is at City Hall after the protest. We gonna try to get in the groove of them coming and doing some talking on live. So live from Occupy City Hall. We just get in. I should have got this set up first, but I wasn't sure if it was gonna work or not. All right, I'm gonna plug this in. This shouldn't mess it up. Hopefully this don't mess it up. It's the head. It's definitely the mic somehow. What about now? What's it sound like now? It got choppy when I plugged this up. Damn, that's crazy because I can't understand you. It's choppy. Better. She said that's better. That's crazy. It's better without the mic. Oh, I got an idea. It's good. What is good now? There we go. Ah, that's bad. The mic not plugged up. Hold on. I got an idea. Hold on. I'm gonna try plugging the mic up a different way. We got that piece. Where that piece at? Oh, no. The piece gone. Oh, that piece is so little. We lose it so often. It's like the little doggle piece. Like plug it into the... Damn. You plug it into the headset jack, and then you plug it into the phone. Back to normal. Damn. This shit crazy. Yeah, but the audio not gonna be good without that. It is right now. It ain't the headphones on. Right now they just listening to the audio from this, but the audio, once we gotta transfer it to other sites and stuff, it's gonna be trash. The audio gonna be trash. That's why we got the mic. Damn. This shit's so crazy. How did we lose this piece?
Okay, guys, I just stretched. Give me a second.
Oh, damn. That shit crazy. We just bought that. We need somebody to take care of all the equipment. This shit crazy. Wow. This shit was just on here. How can this shit not work? You can go without the mic. Damn, that's crazy. I like the mic. Damn.
Just said do it without the mic.
Damn, Wit says she can hear good without the mic. Damn. All right.
Well, we'll have to wing it today.
We're gonna have to do it without the mic. Damn, this shit crazy. It really messed it up when I plug this. I'm gonna plug it in again. Let's see, maybe. Let's see how it sound on your phone. Damn, man, this is crazy. All right. This is nuts. Damn, the podcast. If the podcast was coming out good, it must be this phone. I unplugged it. We unplugged it. This shit stressing me the fuck out. I'm finna have to smoke a blunt. What it sound like? Man, this is crazy.
Sounds good though.
I mean, it do, but it just don't sound as clear as the
Right.
mic. The mic sounds so beautiful,
Right.
man.
You just have to talk up a little bit.
All right. All right, we can't. The mic is fucked up. Never too fast. You right. It ain't that. You right. That's a fact. I let it cool down a little bit, Miss Rebecca, before I got to it. I let it cool down a little bit. Okay. Fine. Fuck it. We gonna do it without the. Is that even? I'm looking at it. I'm being real nitpicky today. My fault, y'all. All right. We gonna do it without the mic. We just gonna talk up a little bit. It ain't that windy. Okay. So the 4th City Market is in the books. No arrests this week. We did have some very interesting interactions that took place this week.
Absolutely.
Very interesting interactions. I think the most interesting interaction. Appreciate it. Love, brother. Love, brother. Love. Be safe. That's a fact. Be safe out here, brother. That's right. I think the most interesting interaction we had, it was white women. Today was a lot of white women. We had
even down here.
A lot of
Even down at City Hall, yeah.
Really?
A lady was waiting for the bus and took it upon herself to start writing in chalk while she was waiting on the bus, but they rerouted the buses.
Yeah, because they're not coming this way. So it's okay.
So
it came from this.
I don't know. As long as I stood here, I didn't see a bus
come. No bus ever came for her
to come get her, but she was using the chalk and started talking. And
it was a white woman too.
Yes,
so today was,
and it was her perspective. So I'll let you speak, but it was her. I stood there to speak with her.
I think we had an interaction today where a woman. Cars, see these traffic gonna be nuts. A motorcycle gonna come by here, it's gonna be loud as fuck. But it's fine, whatever. We had an interaction today with a woman who, she stood on the opposite side of us while we was down at City Market, and she pulled out her phone and started filming. And I could tell by the little smirk that she had that she was filming for negative reasons. And so she kept filming for a little bit, and then eventually she moseyed on over and kikiing with her friend as she was coming over, and I seen from the back the indicators that she was a racist woman, and that she would. And again, the people have a lot of problems with this, with us just calling people racist. That's been a thing that people have been bringing up. Oh, how do you know this person is racist? And you can't just call people racist. If your actions are actions that are consistent with the actions that the racist people take, I'm gonna put you in a category with the racist people. And her actions and her mannerisms and all the things that she did from this event throughout the rest of the evening were all consistent with the actions of the racist people that come out to City Market. While we at it, City Market is ran by racists. And I should have started this off by saying justice for Tyrus Jones, justice for Denzel Duvant, justice for Faustin Guaitigo, and justice for Jose Gonzalez Jr. All four of those people have been victimized by the Rockford Police Department in the last 12 months, have been traumatized by the Rockford Police Department and Winnebago County Sheriff's deputies in the last 12 months. So I want people to understand that these are the issues that we are coming out and speaking about are not issues that happened 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and now they've been solved. These are issues that are still currently happening today, and they happened 5 years ago, and 10 years ago, and 15 years ago, and 20 years ago. And this city has profited and benefited off of the marginalization of black and brown people and poor and working class people in this community. And so we are coming to. We stay outside of City Hall because this is the heart of this city. We go down to City Market because City Market is something that this city is deeply invested in and cares about deeply. And so you have to speak the same language as the institutions that you are up against. You have to speak the same language as the oppressor. The oppressor speaks a language of capital. The oppressor speaks a language of of peace. They want it to be order. They want peace and order at these events that they have. They want to be they want to be in charge. They want to be say what can happen and what can't happen. And so it becomes our responsibility to do in whatever manner that we can to disrupt that. So anyways, let me get back to this, to the interaction with the woman, and I'll let Kay talk about some of the interactions he had with people. So she's standing on the opposite side. She walks over. She pretends to she not pretends, but she films and pretends like she's supportive. She walks over pretending like she's supportive, and oh, what are you doing here? What are you here for? And a few people did speak to her. I chose not to speak to her. I could see from the moment that she was walking over what her intentions was, so I didn't give her no time of day. And I just want anybody that may come to City Market in some types of hopes to get energy from me. I'm not giving nobody no energy at City Market. Unless you are supportive, you will get no energy from me. You will get no conversation from me. I'm gonna walk by you. I'm not gonna make eye contact with you. You don't even exist. The only thing that exists is the purpose that we out there for, the objective that we out there for, the goal that we out there for. So anyway, she come over and talks to a few people, and she gets a pamphlet. She gets one of our pamphlets, and then as she walks back, she goes and she throws the pamphlet away. She laughs, and so that was her political action, to throw the pamphlet away. I want whoever that woman to know, I want whoever that woman is to know, I would have never gave you a pamphlet. Never. I would burn in hell before I would have given you a pamphlet. I seen you walking over, and I seen in your eyes what it was that you was on. The way she threw the pen, I don't know if anybody ever seen Hustle and Flow, but it was just like how Ludacris threw DJ mixtape in the toilet. That's how she threw the pamphlet into the trash can. And so again, I want people to know, especially at City Market, I'm treating everybody like an enemy until proven otherwise. So I'm not gonna give you no pamphlets. I'm not gonna talk to you. I'm not gonna shake your hand. I'm not gonna speak to you. I'm not gonna none of that. None of that until it's been proven that we are aligned ideologically and aligned with our beliefs. I'm not giving nobody no energy, no attention to City Market. So I just want to make sure that that's put out there. And again, that was one of the most interesting things that happened. This woman proceeded, after she threw the pamphlet away, to stand on the opposite side of the street and make facial expressions and talk to her other racist white friends. She called over her one of her token black friend, and he sat there and talked to her for a little bit. I'm sure what he said to her was, Becky, you're not racist. I've had dinner at your house all the time. Don't worry, you're not racist. Becky, you fucking racist. You are a fucking racist. And so, I also want to say this. This woman stood up. She stands on the other side for however long, talking to her friends and taking out her phone, filming again, taking pictures again and shit. And then she drinking. The whole time she getting drunk, getting drunker and drunker. And it's a whole plethora of things to do, but she right there. And it's a groups of people. This is not just her. Multiple white people. And I want to say this. I've seen a couple black folks walking back and forth through City Market. I don't got the energy to keep on every week trying to let black folks know that they spending money with a racist institution, with a racist entity. So if people gonna spend their money there, they gonna spend their money there. It's nothing I can do. I want to say shout out to the black people who, even though they chose to spend their money in City Market, and I wish they wouldn't have done that, gave the fist when they was walking up, or spoke while they was walking up. See these fucking loud ass cars? It's the mic help with the cars. I want to shout out to them. But what I also want to say is shame on some of you house Negroes that I seen. One black man was in a back the blue shirt. Ugh, it's disgusting. Wearing a back the blue shirt in a city that has been notorious for its murdering and shooting and inhumane actions against black people is disgusting. You can see over cars? Okay. It's disgusting. I want to say to some of the black folks who I seen trying to keep their head down and not look over because they was with their white friends, and you should be ashamed of yourself too. Ashamed of yourself too. That's it. I'm gonna let Kay. Let Kay speak. Talk to him about some of the things that you.
All right.
I don't know. You might have to pull that. I don't know. But no.
As a fixture in the protest and in the movement, I'm not here just specifically because of Rockford. It's because of Rockford is not just a one-off situation. What we're dealing with here is no different than the rest of the country anyway. So, yes, I'm fully invested, 100% fully invested. I wear this every time I come out here because I am in the trenches.
That's a fact.
Me being out here, this is not a joke. This is not a game. I never take it lightly. And even as he said, you take people a certain way until proven otherwise. And I do that with everyone that I see. First off, going down to City Market, man, I know that this was the first day of Rockford being opened up, or Illinois. But as part of that, I don't know the specifics of it, but what I read on the news feed yesterday, because I was talking to people about it, and the medical ramifications in the future, I thought the only people that were supposed to take their masks off in public were vaccinated people. Why am I saying that? Because there were zero people in City Market. Now, mind you, I'm saying there were zero people with masks on. Why am I saying that? Because it was the largest crowd in Rockford to date on this day. The largest collective group of people in Rockford gathering together was City Market. There were no masks. The only mask I saw, and I'm not exaggerating, is the one I have on my face.
Yeah, they're not gonna wear no mask. What about the people who came talking to you at the end of City Market?
No, as far as City Market, I think the mask thing is a psychological thing along with other aspects. But I won't go into the details of that. But it was. We get
back to the mask. We just want to paint a picture of the day.
Now, meanwhile, I'm down there. I'm not I don't open up conversations. I'm not down there to argue, because that's why I don't try to have a conversation. I'm always civil, but the energy that comes is combative, disrespectful, and argumentative. People want to debate. I don't choose to debate. I'm a public speaker. This is, as a profession, I'm a public speaker. The one thing I've never done is debate, because debates can be based on feelings and emotions. And just because you're passionate about what you believe in, some people are so passionate about what they believe in, they take that for face value as a fact.
Well, with one of the people what he's speaking about is, we had at the end of City Market at 9 o'clock. So what they've done is, last week multiple people were arrested inside of the footprint for City Market.
Right.
And once they were arrested inside the footprint for City Market, what they said is that they were banned from City Market. Me and myself and Ari were banned from City Market. So it's not until 9 o'clock that permit is lifted and that street is free again in some sense. And so at 9 o'clock, once the permit was lifted and the street was free, they keep this whole street. Anybody who lives in the city knows this. It's the fourth week of it, but this entire street stays shut down. They don't come pick up the construction afterward. Construction. They don't come pick up the road blockage signs afterwards. They don't open up the road afterwards. The road stays closed. So this street is closed all night. It's not till the morning that they pick it up. Outside of CJ's, every week they've had music, except for the second week when it was raining. Every week they've had music playing, people out there drinking, kicking it, partying. And so what we've done these last 2 weeks is we have used chalk, and we have filled up the intersection. What's that, Markkket? Is that Markkket and State?
Yes.
The intersection of Markkket and State in chalk. And so if anybody comes down Markkket and State tonight, or comes down Markkket and State throughout this weekend, what you will see is the messages that we have left in chalk. But in the midst of us leaving that message, there were a lot of people who were supportive. A lot of people came and picked up chalk and also wrote. And we had a few people who wrote last week. It was definitely more people this week writing with the chalk. I want to encourage anybody. I guess we'll make events too. We'll make events for 9 o'clock for people to come out and use the chalk. I wouldn't be surprised if they stopped keeping the street shut down like this. What's up, brother? Love, brother. Love, you know it. You know it. You know it. Be safe, bro. And so So they shut down the street. So we filled up the street with intersection with chalk. So if anybody ain't got nothing to do this weekend or you downtown this weekend, make sure you come out, take some pictures of that. But at the end, as we were doing it towards the end, there was a young woman who came up to me and she had the same type of, I want to tell people this too. I know the vibes. I know the vibes very well. So when somebody comes up and I sense those vibes, I'm not going to talk to you. I'm not going to give you no energy. We had one woman who came, white woman who came up, and see, this is what happened. This was my mistake. I gave her a little bit of energy. I didn't even give her much energy. I just gave her a little. Madison Estate, that's what Patricia's saying. Madison Estate. We gave her a little energy. Okay, here come these motorcycles. Watch, this shit finna be loud than a motherfucker. What up? Oh no, they might be back with motorcycles. But anyways, one woman came up as I was riding with the chalk. And she was like, we're just trying to have a good time. We're just trying to have fun. And again, this was a white woman. She drunk as hell. Drunk as hell. And she yelling, we just want to have a good time. We just want to have fun. I'm telling her, I'm like, lady, I'm back up. I'm like, back up. I don't give a fuck what you trying to do. But she kept on talking. And so I put the siren on. I just put the siren up. I'm down. I was kneeled down riding with chalk. I put the siren up. The white woman grabs the megaphone, right? Swing the megaphone. So I pick up, I pull the megaphone back. I don't want to say the woman hit me. She made she made some type of physical contact with me, this white woman did. Now I know if I would have made any physical contact back with her, there wouldn't it would, you know, niggas would be, I would have been treated like a nigga, and then I would have been in jail and charged with it and all types of shit. So I didn't escalate the situation. We de-escalated the situation. But anyways, we continue riding in chalk. We filling up the intersection with chalk. But towards the end, another person came and they had the same energy, the same indicators as this white woman. However, this was a woman who seemed to be of mixed race. Yes. She seemed to be of mixed race. She came over to me and she said, "Are you having fun?" And that's one of them things that, like, I know you ain't come over here to say no. You not got no good shit. You don't got no good follow-ups. Cause no, I'm not having fun. It's a lot of things that I think could be fun to do. Hold on. A lot of things I think could be fun to do on a Friday night. This is not fun. But this is the work that needs to be done. And so I enjoy doing the work.
Absolutely. Has to be
but
done.
it has to be done. She came and she said, "Have you having fun?" I'm like, "No, I'm enjoying." I didn't say no. I said, "I'm enjoying the music." Around that time, Kay had walked up.
Right.
And then from that moment, I walked away. I'm not even gonna stunt. No matter what, I was about to walk away. Me and Shorty was not about to have no conversation. Me and this woman was not about to have no conversation. We was about to have no kind of talk. She had all the indicators of somebody who not only did not understand what the issue is, but had no desire to understand what the issue is. And I don't think ain't nobody trying to find out what the issue is at 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock at night, drunk at CJ's with their friends. So I walked away to continue to fill in some of the colors. And then Kay had a conversation. So I'll let Kay speak about the conversation that he had with them for a little bit. I'll jump back in where I entered the conversation again, and then we'll move past these people because I don't think rather.
Now this whole situation, again, previously I had mentioned debating. I don't debate because I focus on the facts. Facts have no bearing on how you feel or what you think. A fact is a fact. A fact may draw out emotions, but your emotions have no bearing on what is a fact. So I'm just using that in the context of the conversation. So the lady, Leslie walks away. Lady approaches me, and she asks this, just a question that makes no sense. In any relevance in life, makes no sense. But she's setting up a straw man. Well, do you believe that all police officers are inherently evil in their heart as human beings? I said it's irrelevant. Well, no, I'm asking you a yes or no question. I said it's irrelevant. I said what you're talking about is a system that they work under. And if the system itself is corrupt, their heart,
Don't matter.
They may feel that their heart is in the right place. Exactly. But if you work for a corrupt institution,
which policing
it is completely irrelevant at that point.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter. Well, what about that? Well, what about the good officer on the force? And I said, the good officer on the force? The good officer on the force, quote unquote, always gets overshadowed by the guy that shoots somebody in cold blood. So my job as a citizen is not to focus on, well, Bob was good. Well,
Hi guys.
Hello, how
Good
you
evening.
doing? Have a good night.
the other officer was the one that shot someone with malice, knowing he's not going to get his job taken away, knowing he's going to keep his pension, knowing he's going to have a desk job, knowing he's not going to get reprimanded. Why would I focus on the one that didn't do it?
And even, but and then this is, and oh, that's also true. But on top of that, the other part of this is when the people continue to try to, and this is how you know when someone not only is ignorant to these issues, but has not shown the effort to become informed on these issues. Is that, let's say Bob is the good cop we're talking about, right? So Bob's the good cop. In January, Bob's fellow police officers, they're riding. In January, Bob's fellow police officers beat Denzel Duvine. Bob knows the police officers who beat Denzel Duvine. He knows the circumstances of how they beat Denzel Duvine. He knows the beating of Denzel Duvine is inhumane, but Bob is not doing anything about it. Now, continue. Now, hold on. That's January, right?
Exactly.
Now, Bob is gonna go to. Let's go into Bob's past. Let's say Bob's been a police officer. Let's say 15 years, right? So for 15 years, Bob's been a police officer. That means it was a time when Bob was searching people's cars because they smelled like weed. It was a time when Bob would arrest people and bring people into jail for having weed. It was a time, Bob engaged in all of these weed laws that were all horseshit, bullshit laws that were on the books, that were consistently enforced in black communities and brown communities, much more higher than they were enforced in white communities, were regularly enforced in working class and poor communities, much more than they were enforced in middle class and high and upper class communities, even though there is no substantial proof that any that class or race makes you do drugs more or less often. Okay, so, but Bob, 15 years ago, was locking people up,
Exactly.
throwing them in jail, destroying their lives.
Got raises.
Oh, exactly.
Got raises
and now
out of it, promotions.
now the law has changed, and we can be right out here at City Hall blowing bag. They put an estate tax on it. All of these different things. So now take a load of Bob. Now Bob, for 10 years, he has a laundry list of people's lives he has destroyed. On behalf of the state over weed. Now the state says weed is legal, and the state is making money off of that same weed by taxing it. So Bob was a weapon of exploitation. So even though Bob may have been a good guy, Bob think inside that system, he worked it. And now when it's going, now is Bob still out? Now when the weed laws change, see, this is the other thing about police officers too. Because police officers are not making laws. Because police officers are not even in the court, they're only there enforcing the law. So when the law changes, they just change with the law.
Exactly.
They don't even have a moral compass of right or wrong when they're out there.
And the point that he's making for every viewer, that is the point of this. So the next person that walks up to me that is either watching this now or watches that another time, you watch it, you hear what's being said, and then you decide to question me or conversate about what you feel we're doing wrong. The point that he made is crystal clear. The police don't have the phrase "to serve and protect" on the side of their vehicle. The police don't have that phrase on the side of their vehicle, serve and protect, because that's not their job. Their job is to uphold the law. So if the laws are working against the community, against the citizens, against the people, they are only doing what they're what they're supposed to do, which is to uphold the law. Their primary job is to protect federal property, buildings, and monuments.
Yeah. So go ahead to what else? What's the conversation you had with
the whole point with this woman? I come to find out, her father works in City Hall. So what she was really fishing for, like I said, she set up a straw man. Do you believe that they're personally bad people? What they do when they get home and take off the uniform and sit with their kids, or have a barbecue in their backyard, that has nothing to do with the moment the uniform goes on and the laws that they are upholding, which are trumped up against people of color. So there's no argument with
and poor people.
It has no argument about what I think their heart is like. What I know is that they're paid to do a job.
Now, what about a man? Now, it's as you was talking to her, because you was with a group of ladies, another man came in, right?
Right.
What did he say?
I believe he may have been her husband, boyfriend, whatever. He proceeds to tell me he has a family, a long line of officers. So already I'm thinking, okay,
and what was
he
this
has a
person
preconceived
ethnicity?
idea.
What was his color?
He was also
Mixed race, believed to be
mixed race,
Okay.
possibly Latino or black and white. And as soon as he said that about officers, I could tell what he was saying was, these are my family. So I see them outside of the uniform. I see them as human beings. I see them as dads, husbands, fathers, uncles. They're my family.
Right. And see, and now we got to talk about this in the community more too. We have to start getting to a point where we have an understanding that, okay, how like this. There are certain decisions that if a family member makes those decisions, families ostracize those people over those decisions because they feel it's detrimental to the family.
Right.
Now, check this out.
Right.
A black family is black. Now, I want to say a black family because all black families not like this. I don't got no family with no family of police officers. So I can't relate to that. I don't know what that's like. I don't know about that life. So I can't relate to it. I'll try my best to be empathetic in certain situations with black officers. But before I get into the example I was going to give, let me get into this. Let me say what I have seen black police officers do. I have seen black police officer, Theo Glover, black police officer, look me in my eyes and say, this is a designated protest area. On a Thursday, let black police officer Theo Glover, black man, say this is a designated protest area and nothing will happen to any of the people in this protest area and they will be okay to be in this protest area. 24 hours later in that same protest area, black police officer Theo Glover was in charge as multiple officers from the Winnebago County Sheriff deputies and the Rockford Police Department pepper spray people inside that area he said people would be safe in as they threw people to the ground and falsely arrested them inside that area he said people would be safe in as they used all types of tactics to grab people and pull them outside of that area to then make arrests, that same area that a black police officer said they would be okay in. So that's one black police officer, Theo Glover. Let me tell you what another things I've seen a black police officer do. Carla Red, we brought a TV outside of City Hall, outside of City Market one week before arrests started taking place, and we played a video. Including children, as Patricia said. This is from the at the protest, in the designated protest area, children were also pepper sprayed. So let me get back. That was Theo Glover. Let's get back to Carla Red. Carla Red, we brought a TV out to City Market, sat the TV in the streets, on the sidewalk, on Joe Marino Park, on the sidewalk, and I played videos of multiple Winnebago County Sheriff Deputy and Rockford Police Department officers assaulting mercilessly unarmed people who came to a protest on May 30th, and I asked Carla Red what she thought about that and what her opinion was on those things, and she said it was under investigation, she couldn't speak on it. Under investigation, she couldn't speak on it. One of the videos was a video of a young man being thrown to the ground and being kneed, elbow, punched. I tell people all the time, one person did a people's elbow. That's how much they was beating this person's ass. They beating their ass so much, one of the cops thought they could hit a people's elbow on them. Played the video for us. She said it's under investigation. She can't speak on it. Maybe a week, 2 weeks later, Carla Red, black police officer, gets up at a press conference standing next to these racist white men, Tom McNamara and Dan O'Shea, and says that everything that the police officers did, not only in that video, but through the entirety of May 30th, in which they pepper sprayed unarmed people, in which they tased unarmed people, in which they punched, kicked, elbowed unarmed people, in which they broke people's cars by hitting them with they little batons, in which they shot rubber bullets at people. All of these things, the list of things, which they made false arrests of people, this litany list of things that they did, she said all of them was justified. All of them was right. There wasn't a single thing that was done wrong. That's a black police officer sat up there and did that. 100% within Rockford Police Department policy. Black police officer.
And if I may add to what
Go ahead.
add to what Leslie's saying,
It's more black police. Another
from
list.
what I
Go ahead.
had told to me personally last year from officers, I said, what is the protocol that you have to follow in this protest? This is the first time you've ever had this in Rockford. What protocol are you following? Officer after officer said, and I repeat, we are observing how Minneapolis, Portland, and New York City are handling their protests. And that we're acting accordingly. We're watching footage and we're talking to them and we're getting our information from them. Why am I using this? New York City right now, the mayor, the police force, and the city is being sued for excessive force for the protest last year. Minneapolis has lawsuits and Portland. So the point that I'm making is of multiple officers, head officers that were there last year saying, well, we're copying what they're doing. If they're all getting hit with excessive force charges and class action lawsuits against the police forces in every single city, what do you think Rockford needs? They said they copied those cities. That's why everything he just said, that's why they did it. They didn't just do it just to do it. They did it strategically because they were copying the actions of other cities. So again, if they were copying the actions of other cities and openly saying that that is how they developed their protocol here, the same way there's a class action, there's a lawsuit against the mayor of New York City, the police force in New York City, and the city itself for excessive force and police brutality on how they handle the protests. Same thing in Minneapolis, same thing in Portland. Same thing needs to be here. Why? Because Rockford copied the same playbook as all the cities I just mentioned.
Now so the man came the next guy came and you was talking to him. He said that he maybe it was the wife or something like that, but he said he had a family of police officers.
He said he had a family of police officers, and the point that I made was this. I said, I'm going to use an extreme point so that you understand what I'm saying and why I'm saying it. I said, Nazi Germany had the SS. I said, the question that she keeps asking me, I keep giving the same answer, but she's not understanding what I'm saying. The system itself, the structure of the system is corrupt, broken, and evil. So someone that may have good intentions, so they think, once you start working under the protocol of the system, your good intentions don't mean anything.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you keep on going, but H-Rap Brown, anytime I hear this argument or this thing being said, it always goes me back to this H-Rap Brown quote, which is, the system, the individual does not manipulate the system.
Right.
The system manipulates the individual.
Absolutely, 100%.
Right, and right now,
100%.
every single cop in Rockford that's white could retire and they could be replaced with a black police officer, and the Rockford Police Department would still be racist, and the Rockford Police Department would still be anti-black, and the Rockford Police Department would still have 3 districts that are stationed in areas that are predominantly black. They would still over-police those communities, that are predominantly black. They would still continue to try to use pretext stops on black people on black people just as often. Again, because the type of people who have the mentality to become police officers, whether black, white, orange, yellow, or other, they still will engage in these same type of activities so they can rise up in the ranks. That being said, we live in a city in which if you are black, you are 3 times as likely to be pulled over if you are white. That would not change if all the police officers were black overnight. Those police officers will engage in those same things. It's black police officers right now that are pulling over black people 3 times as often as they pull over white people, because they station in black communities 3 times as often as they station in white communities, because the warrants that are issued 3 times as often for black people than they are for white people. So there's all these things that being black cannot overcome.
Right.
It cannot overcome any of those things. And so the same thing politically. Every politician and judge and state's attorney and public defender could all be black overnight. Overnight it can happen. But the policies, the institutions, the things that they benefit off of and profit off of, the people, the corporations that they are in bed with, the things that they will find to be the military-industrial complex, the prison-industrial complex, all of these systematic and systemic issues will still be there, even if it is black people who are running the machine. And so that is why we have to address the machine, and that's why it don't fucking matter how if your dad is a great man and took care of all of his kids and making sure that you going to college, if he a police officer and he helped to arrest people for crack and put them in prison with a sentencing that was 100 times as worse as cocaine, and when he would arrest somebody for cocaine, most of the times they'd be white, and when he arrests somebody for crack, most of the times they'd be black. Thus he helped push black people into prisons disproportionately. That it don't matter. It don't matter because that's what his job entails. It don't matter how good of a man Tom McNamara is, or how nice he talks to his black friends, or how much he put on listen masks at press conferences. If when Tyrus Jones is shot, he doesn't even have the decency to say the name of Tyrus Jones. If he runs a city which will capitalize off of the fact that we're live in a city in which all types of street issues are going on, and instead of trying to address street issues as such and address these street issues or intercommunity issues or intercommunity violence are things that are brought on from poverty, things that are brought on from racism, things that are brought on from miseducation. And so you can actually honestly address those things, and you can compartmentalize that from having police officers that shoot people down in the streets. And so you can have the decency to say the name of the victims of the police officers that shot down in the streets. It takes no time to do that. He chooses to not do that because he's a racist, because politically it's advantageous for him to not do that. And so he sits there and that's what he does. Again, all of these things entail what these people care about, what these people feel are important. What's up, my man?
Hey, man.
What's up? What's up?
No,
what's up? What's up?
I'm just trying to listen.
No,
Sorry.
you all good. You all
nothing
good.
but
No, it's all
nothing
good.
but
It's all
respect.
good.
Nothing
It's
but
all good.
respect.
I think I seen you. You came out here before.
We did. Okay,
I
cool.
said
Like,
I
said, man.
No, yeah, you all good. No, it's all good. It's all good. I just had to stop. I lost my steam. No, you good. I just was in my bag. No, I was in my bag. I was crossed. I was trying to cross. I looked over and I seen you. I couldn't keep it going. That's my fault. That's not just all good. No, love. Y'all be safe.
Keep doing it.
Appreciate it. Y'all be safe out here. Have a good night. And so again, we speak on all these things and talk about all these things because the problem that has happened here is that there's not a dialogue, there's not a deep dive into these things. They are surface level conversations. And so the point that we was making was that individuals do not manipulate systems.
Exactly.
Systems manipulate individuals. And so even though the mayor of this city as an individual may seem as if he is not racist, the type of system he runs in this city is racist. And that is the reason why he will not say the names of victims after they are shot by the police. It is to dehumanize them. And again, the dehumanization is a systemic and a systematic thing. There's multiple. Chiarelli, the Winnebago County chairman of the board, also would not say the name. When Faustin Guetico was shot, in the quote statement he gave, he didn't say his name either. So it's not as if this is only a one-off. There's other mayors and people in cities, and that's why people say their name or say his name, say her name, because that's a tactic that's used for. What up, brother? Be safe. That's a tactic that's used for dehumanization. Go ahead. Go ahead. What's up, brother? How you feeling?
My bad. I ain't trying to
No,
make
you
no
good.
lies,
You
man.
good. You good.
I was just finna come over here. And be like,
The
y'all,
point
man,
that I made,
y'all be safe, man.
Man, for
Be
real,
safe out
we
here.
will, we will.
I'll slide on you
Love,
tomorrow.
I'm already knowing. I'll be seeing you every day.
For sure, man.
Be safe. You be safe too,
You
man.
know I am, man.
I'm already knowing. I'll be seeing you smooth.
Y'all be safe.
Yep.
the point that I made, because I can see he really couldn't get away from this is my blood we're talking about, and he's looking at their heart, but he's not realizing you can't separate the man from the profession, because that is their job. And if their job is to uphold the law, and the laws are corrupt, fighting against the people, their actions are corrupt, even if their heart intention isn't. Even if their intention isn't, just their actions alone are still following suit with the laws that they're there to uphold. So I'm looking at him eye to eye, and he's like, "Well, I have officers that they're my family. I have a long line of officers that are in my family," and he was passionate because really what he was saying was they're trying to make a difference, but they're in a system that's corrupt. Illinois is the #1 most corrupt state in America for politics. This is a fact. This is a fact. Illinois is the #1 most corrupt state in America for politics. Chicago, Illinois is the most corrupt city politically in America. So with Rockford being in Illinois, what would make Rockford an island unto itself for political corruptness? What would make this place so different through the history of Rockford? Prior to McNamara, prior to whoever was before him, and whoever was before him, what would make Rockford exempt to any political corruption based on how money gets spent, how money gets allocated, and how the city gets money? What would make this place so different? It's not. It's not. It's not. Now, the point that I made to him, I said, allow me to use an extreme example so that you can understand exactly what I'm saying. I said, during Nazi Germany, the SS had soldiers that had to do a job. I said, it didn't matter how good someone's intentions were. They may have hid Jewish people. But I said, how was it collectively remembered in history? How was the SS and Nazis remembered in history? They're remembered collectively based on the jobs and the structure of what they had to do. It defined their very presence. It defined their positions. So it doesn't matter that one a general or soldier may have hid a family or did whatever. That doesn't shine in the light of the fact that when you say SS, because he even repeated it back to me, to use it as an example, he said, I don't even want to say the name SS. And I'm thinking, you just proved my point. The police force is defined itself. So you can't cherry pick a person and make them a poster child of quote unquote good when the whole institution is rotten.
And now I think this was around the time when the next person came.
Yes.
Because I came.
Right.
Okay, so
the next person came up because the
hey, what's up, sister?
The statement
What's
that I was
up,
going to make to
sister?
him
Love
was
you.
because he said they started talking about examples, and I said I'll give you a perfect example. And this is when Leslie walked up.
Okay, yeah. So
I began to talk about the Capitol building because I'm trying to show examples, like in-your-face examples of how everyone's not treated the same. Because the man before Leslie walked up, the guy that said he had family that were police, he was saying, well, as minorities, they treat everybody the same. But I'm thinking, they're still part of a system that doesn't. They're part of a system that doesn't.
And that's not even true. They don't
and
treat everybody.
I'm thinking
not even
that's
true.
what you may think that, but
which shows which means that you don't
he's
understand
being
the
biased
problem.
because they're his family.
And it just means, and again, it means you don't understand the problem.
Exactly.
You don't understand the issue. And so go ahead.
And I said, and this is when Leslie walked up. A white gentleman walked over.
I think he was mixed too. Was he?
Possibly.
He was
possibly.
mixed too. They was
He is very light, but now that I think about it, he may have been mixed as well. So we were dealing with a situation of biracial people.
Yes.
Trying to make sense of white America and black America.
And again, this is not casting no type of
No, not at
aspersion
all.
on
Not at all.
biracial.
Not at all.
That's not at all what's going on.
That's not.
That just happened to be the ethnicity of the people.
It's not a point to express.
Yeah, we're not doing no psychoanalyzing.
Right.
We're only saying what happened and then speaking about
And
the context of their ideologies,
Right.
not doing psychoanalyzing of them as people.
Now the only reason I'm bringing that up is because the lady that spoke about it, she went that way. I didn't. She did because she said my dad is white. I'm mixed. My mom is black. So she was trying to make sense of good intentions and a corrupt system, but just focusing on good intentions.
And
Now-
so now I walked up around this time
Right.
again because first we was out of chalk. That's the main reason. If we would have more chalk, I would have let them go ahead and talk their heads off. And K the type of person here. Hey, yeah, we just doing a little live. You need some chairs? You want some chairs or something like that?
Come and say hi to
Okay,
you.
okay. Hey, how you
Come
doing?
See what you doing out here.
No, we
God
just.
bless you. God bless
Come
you.
to offer you a jello
Oh,
shot.
thank you.
Good evening. Good evening.
Hi, how
God
you
bless
doing? How you doing?
And so I just come to introduce. This is my cousin Bianca.
Okay, Leslie, it's nice to meet you. My hands all chalky, or else I shake them. I'll talk to you.
Okay, I'll be telling you
Yeah.
about it.
Like that.
Yep. Man, last time I see you, I was getting arrested. That was crazy. Yeah,
Yep, that's what she
yeah,
was.
that's what's happening. Yeah, it's good to see you again this
Keep on
week.
messing with Leslie.
Yeah, they do.
Well,
They
that's
do.
because they made the same classic historic mistake. A movement is not a man.
Nope.
That's a fact.
They did it with King. They did it with Malcolm. They did it with every black leader. They did it with Huey Newton. They mistakenly, and this just shows you they haven't learned in history. A movement is not a man. The man is the voice in the movement that is garnering attention because he's saying what others believe and are saying, but he has the platform, and they feel comfortable enough to allow him to speak for them. That's when you know in our community, we don't let people speak for us unless you feel comfortable enough that they are saying how you feel. So when I watch the actions of the politics that be, I just shake my head. When I leave from here, I mean, I spend hours here. I shake my head when it's just me and God. And I say, they still don't get it. They still don't get it. A man is not a movement.
They want to remove one person, but then it's going to be 10 more.
That's a fact.
Because I ain't going nowhere.
No.
Rockford is 40 to 60 years behind any average city of its same
Rockford
size
was
because
murdered.
of the Justice Center.
The west side of Rockford was murdered. That's a...
Listen, you
cemetery.
are the perfect segue to where this is going,
The city
because
was murdered.
they signed a seal. This city literally, legit signed a deal with the devil when they put that Justice Center there. No Fortune
Those were
500,
homes.
no Fortune 300
Those were
business
families.
will
Yeah.
ever
Property.
build over there.
All those empty lots up and down West State,
Yeah.
those is the homes we grew up in. They made it so we don't have a home to go back to. Nothing we grew up with is there anymore.
Now I don't know
What
if
year was that
anybody
when they- what year was
anybody
that when they
listening,
tore that
please
down?
let me
They
know
can
if you
hear
can hear her off
Yeah, they can.
camera.
They can.
And
Because she's
93,
making the points of everything that we were
took
talking
all the
about.
black men to prison in '93. From '93 to 2000, there was nothing but women and children in Rockford. And then the people who were in power, our elders, they died. When they died, they just immediately started tearing down their businesses and their houses. And that's what happened to Rockford. Our elders died, and there was nobody strong enough to replace them. Yep. They tried to get rid of me too. They've been attacking me for like, what, 30 years? They be mad because I'm still here. I'm still
We
here.
have
and
to
I'm
we
still
have to use
cute.
our voices
Yeah,
and
that's
we
true.
have
That's
to
a
use our
fact.
platforms to speak
Mhm.
because the movement that we're talking about is justice.
Yeah.
America flipped out last
And
year
they
when
don't
black
think.
people said one simple phrase: Black
Black
lives
lives
matter. Wait, but all lives. Okay,
Yeah.
them kids been at the border for how long?
Right.
How come y'all ain't talking about them kids?
They lives
What about
matter
the Native
too.
American
Yeah.
women going missing every day? What about 67,000 black women going missing every year in America?
Yeah. Sex
What about this
trafficking.
human trafficking that's
The
going
only
on?
My
time
daughter was
all
lost in
lives
sex
matter
trafficking.
is when a black person says
Yeah,
Black Lives Matter.
16 years
Yep.
old, they stole my daughter,
Yep.
and we found her on an island off the coast of Florida.
Oh my God.
Yep.
My condolences.
So it's a lot of issues.
It's
that
real.
black people have.
America still hasn't
Not
embraced
just racism,
black people
it's a
saying
lot of stuff.
Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
We need
The
everybody to
nation
come
still
out.
hasn't embraced that.
Nope.
No, because they want to throw money at us like that's the fix-all. But for me, I need justice. Money cannot.
That's what
there's
this is
no
all
amount
about.
of
This is
money
about
that'll give
justice.
me what I need.
This is
Yeah.
about justice.
no
It's
amount
not
of
about
money.
tokenism. This is
No.
not about an apology.
They owe me 6 kids. My relationship with my kids is not right because of the system. My kids are confused and distraught because of the system. And there's
Exactly.
the only way that I could fix that is justice for me because I
Right.
was the victim.
Well, reparations is to repair.
Yep.
Yeah.
after the Holocaust, they received reparations or repairing. They didn't just get, oh, I'm sorry for your loss. They got, I'm sorry. Now let's put some money to rebuilding
Their
what we
reparations are
ripped apart.
continuous.
Japan, they didn't just get a, I'm sorry. They got, we have to put money behind repairing, reparations, repairing what we destroyed, what we ripped apart. Just last year, the supposed Asian crime, Asian hate, comes out. 95% of all Asian hate was white related.
Yeah.
Yep.
But they painted in the community, tried to, that it was black on Asian. It's not.
No, it's not.
What happened after that? They got $50 million and they got anti-Asian hate crime bill.
Yep.
We've been lynched, burned, beat, raped, killed, babies thrown as alligator bait.
Yep.
They have a cookbook called The Delectable Negro, How to Cook and Consume a Black Person. It is a real book in America.
Yes.
It is a real book. It's called The Delectable Negro. Look it up. It's a book on how to cook and eat a black person. They were cannibalizing and eating us. They stuffed chairs with our hair.
Yep.
There were people that had belts and shoes made out of our skin.
Yep. Purses.
That's a fact. I've seen that shit.
Yeah.
But to say all that, then people say, why are you so mad?
That's a fact.
Keep your I'm sorry, because there's no repairing on a city level, a state level, or a national level. There is no repairing. Why? Because you found a way to monetize our brokenness
Yep.
in every conceivable way possible. And America has such a love affair in its veins. With our blood, it's like a drug. They need the fix of black blood flowing in the streets.
Look, right now, when I was over there where I was, now it ain't a whole lot of black women like me. They might look like me, but they don't act like me and talk like me. But when them people see me, they be like, where did she come from? Because they thought they got all of us. They didn't get me.
Right.
But when they see me and they see the way I talk and the way I am, they're shocked because they thought they ended that type of person. They thought they murdered.
Now, to everyone that's hearing what she's saying, I'm
because
gonna give it to you this
got
way.
on right.
When the black community is silent or quiet, white America has the tendency to assume that we're quiet because we're happy.
Yep, we ain't happy.
America is literally trying to choke the life out of us in our speaking and in our mobilizing. But when they start hearing silence, they're like,
They calmed us down.
it must be better. No, you're trying to choke us out. You know exactly what it is, but you figure you're equating silence with appeasement.
Yeah.
This is for Rockford. Keep the I'm sorry or sorry for your loss. Put some money behind that. And I'm not even talking about the cannabis money. If you mean to tell me you've monetized the fact that the war on drugs in Rockford has deemed this city justified to give money, taxable money to those impacted by the drugs,
Man.
where's the federal money? Because if this started in the 80s, all the way up until now,
The 80s, before
how
the
many
80s.
hundreds of millions of dollars did you generate off the lives of black and brown
War on
people?
drugs.
It's before the 80s.
But I'm using the reference
Yeah.
on the term.
The
You know what I'm
world,
saying?
no, the
And-
reference
well,
was
yeah.
Nixon. Nixon in 68 through 72. That's the first time the war on drugs term was used. It was on heroin.
Right.
That
True,
go
true,
all the way, and that's
true.
how far back they've been criminalizing addiction issues because they predominantly affected black and brown communities. That's how long they've been putting drugs into these neighborhoods because the war on drugs, simultaneously with the war on drugs, is them funneling drugs into these communities. And then that goes on from the 70s into the 80s. And then cocaine, and then funneling children. So all of these things gotta be, you gotta retrograde it all the way back that
My
far.
point with all of this is, do I honestly believe what they're doing now is anything substantial? No.
Of course not. They're
No.
not gonna do nothing substantial.
So even for the city of Rockford, the little bit that's being done, people want to sit there and cheer and clap, whether they're in our community who really don't understand what's going on, and in the suburbs. Well, we're doing something. You're not doing anything. You're really not doing anything because Mission
But no.
accomplished. You, for what you've done detrimental to the black community here, as she was just saying, the voice of the community. George Floyd was not an example that caused something in Rockford. It sparked something in Rockford.
Yeah.
It didn't cause anything here. Everything was already under the surface.
And they're picking right now with this Mark Anthony Barmore situation. And
Oh, with that
parading
running for
this
sheriff.
officer
Yep, running for sheriff.
around, letting it be known that nothing happened to him. He got paid.
Yeah,
from the city.
$700,000.
Mhm.
Yep.
He got paid.
This
from
man
the
was the
city
one who
for
did it.
killing a young boy and ruining a family.
Yeah.
'Cause the father and the mother are friends of mine. I grew up with both of them, with both of his parents, and I know that because of that death, they are changed.
And the children, the kids that was in the church, of all them
Absolutely.
kids that was in that
The
church.
whole
I'm not even
Yeah.
from here. I was not born here. But I knew about that case because all the way in New York State,
Yeah.
it was conversation.
Yeah, and that
in
officer should
New,
not be
Rochester,
paraded
New York,
in front of
Syracuse,
these people.
Yep, and
Buffalo,
now he going
New
out-
York
he
City,
out here trying to
Manhattan,
run for to be the
Brooklyn.
sheriff.
This went national.
Boone County should not even accept his
Yep, and he-
application.
no, hell no. But
Boone
this,
County
but the
should not
same. But he
want
the
him.
second. Jeff Pope Jackie, who killed Lil Mike Sago Jr. ran to be sheriff.
Because
And,
they
yep,
get praise for
get
killing
praised for
that.
that. Yeah, it's like that's the other
praise for
thing
killing
that
that.
people act like the American society was created on violence and created on murder and created on genocide and created on that cowboy mentality, and they try to act as if that's
We the
something that
thugs.
only go on in inner city communities,
We the
as if
thugs.
they didn't take all the land in this country,
Right.
as if they didn't take black people that was free in the north
They're
and bring them to
waiting
the
right
south.
now for all these old people on the west side to die so they can take their property. The reason that those houses are still standing is because those people ain't selling. They ain't
Right.
selling, and they've been fighting for their
Yeah,
houses.
they're trying to gentrify.
Well,
the area.
anyone paying attention to Rockford, the gentrification is real.
Yes,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
The
very
reason why
real.
they picked East State was because East State is the artery to connect the suburbs
Yeah.
to downtown.
Yeah.
But they left downtown dilapidated because it was part of its phases.
They wanted to
We have to
kill that side.
we have to gentrify it first before we pump in the corporations
want.
and the businesses and the condos and the waterfront property
Oh, but
before
they
we
said-
build it up. And people watching, pay attention, follow the money. When things look funny, follow the money.
The spies
The
are
last
there
mayor
already.
before McNamara
moving in
drove
already.
down the
That's a fact.
real estate value. This is, you can look this up. I'm a business consultant. I followed this from day one when I moved here. He drove down the value of the property in downtown Rockford, the last mayor. This is verified.
Yep.
The property value downtown dropped. What does that mean? Now I don't have to spend retail value
Right, and I don't have
for
to put
buying
money
buildings
into
and
it.
property. Because the moment he got out of office, it was one of the major articles. Property values going back up. So who stood to gain? The people that were there when he suppressed the prices, and you could buy up more property.
Yeah.
The moment he leaves, oh, he's gone. Property value goes back up.
Yep.
Why is downtown stagnant? Because the property value is sitting at a certain rate. You have to adjust everyone so it doesn't balloon to 3 to 5 times higher the rate. You got to get people out first.
And
You
they
got to make
hand
adjustments
pick which
first.
businesses they want to launder money on this street, because these businesses don't even be open half the time.
That's bad.
They all of them is laundering money. This is a drug city. When they stop selling drugs over there, it's because they start selling them over
Oh
there.
no, that's that. It ain't no city in America that ain't ran with drugs. I tell people all the
Right.
time, if you went through a month and everybody stopped doing crime, America go broke.
Yeah.
The
All
cities
these
would go
people-
broke if it wasn't
all
no
these
crime.
people you see running around wild is drug dealers' children. They have no rules. I recognize them. I know a lot about people, and I be watching them and seeing them.
Well, Rockford as a city just needs to realize that what's happening in Rockford is not because of Leslie. It's not because of me. It's not because of even the person that you hear off camera.
I'm
It's not.
Jerry Hood.
It's not because of us. We're responding to what was already here.
Yep. We was
And
born
for
into
everyone that
this,
comes
not-
down to City Market that wants to dialogue and speak in reference to why are you guys causing
Right.
these things? We're not causing anything. We're responding to what we're seeing.
Right.
That's a fact. Malcolm X said in one of his speeches, he said that, he started it off by saying, a lot of times people make the mistake when somebody wakes them up and tells them that their house is on fire of accusing the person waking them up of setting the fire. That's his, and that's the same thing that's going on, and he said, we don't want to be accused of setting the fire. We just here to wake you up and let America know that their house is on fire.
Exactly.
And that's a fact. That's 100% a fact.
Rockford's house is on fire.
Because that's how
The
they
Justice
are.
Center downtown, horrible decision. The Justice Center is the reason why you have this artery pulling huge economic resources down a strip when it should have been centered to downtown Rockford. They spread out. For anyone watching, follow the logic. They spread out all of the business that Rockford should have literally had downtown where the Justice Center is.
Right.
In that immediate area, they spread it out over a street so that it could connect the physical location of downtown to where the people work at, to where they live at. And East State is
So
just
they
an
never have to
artery
go through
for them
that
to
part of
drive
town.
to where they work,
They
but
never
then
have
to
to see
comfortably
that.
go back home to where they live. Now you have a casino that is where they live at. So anyone that thinks this is garbage, watch the property rate around the casino
Right.
next year, over the next foreseeable 5 years. Watch the property value skyrocket.
It is right now.
Why am I saying this?
That's the way.
What do you think we should have had downtown? They sold the soul.
Of course, they wasn't
They
gonna put
sold
that
the
shit
soul.
downtown. They was never gonna put that
To
shit
show
downtown.
you how much white supremacy has no logical base to it, there is a cap to monetizing a human being based on whether it's hourly wages or their family buying ramen noodles in socks. There's a cap on that. Rockford, in all its infinite ignorance, cut backroom deals to put the Justice Center there with a limited amount of economics coming in, knowing that they could have brought a university, multiple universities.
They don't want
Could have been
educated
football,
people.
basketball, baseball, anything. They said, no, we'll monetize these minorities, preferably blacks. We'll monetize them and we'll suppress their community.
Rockford has like 1,000 rappers with no resources.
Then you have institutions like a casino. Whether you're pro or con, they begged for this because they knew no one else was coming because of the decision of the Justice Center. No Fortune 500, no Fortune 300 businesses are going to build within a 2 to 5 mile radius of an incarceration center. Look it up.
Right.
They knew this when they put it there.
Right.
Yeah, that's your
But
fact.
yet, it's the black people's problem. It's not our problem.
That's a fact.
We weren't in office to do this. I want people to understand clearly. People knew exactly what they're doing when they put pen to paper and signed in that Justice Center. They sealed the fate of the city and sold its soul to the devil. They knew that was the repercussions and ripple effects of the Justice Center are 80 to 100 years for this city. Nobody is coming to downtown Rockford. That's not my opinion, folks. They can't draw. They can't beg.
That's why they
can't-
paying for the marketing campaign.
They can't
That's why
beg-
they're
yes.
paying for the
They
marketing
can't
campaign.
beg a Fortune 300 or Fortune 500
That's
business
why
here.
it's such a
I don't care
delay.
how pretty they paint it. No one is going near that Justice Center. Mark my words. That money that they spent, $300,000, they might have just said, "Hey, you want some money?"
And how they
You
paying,
want some money?
But even besides that, they're paying $300,000. They're paying $300,000. Probably it's probably like $500,000, probably even more than that. $1 million, however much money. They're paying however much money to try to put on a media campaign. They try to get people to move here. But at the same time that that's happening, they have memorials that the city of Rockford is tearing down weekly. They have their a picture of a man who was assaulted at the hands of their police department sitting outside of City Hall. They have multiple trials getting ready to come up for people who they have arrested for protesting. And this is the thing that people should understand about these trials, specifically these are political trials, which is vastly different than quote unquote criminal trials. And I say they're political trials because the charges that, as we go into these trials, the charges that everybody has, the implications from them, they are not because there's any type of victims. It's not because any type of person lost money directly or money was taken from them directly. It's not because there's been any type of property damage. None of those things are there. And so what is happening, these trials will be a set of people who do not like the way another set of people are choosing to exercise their rights to freedom of speech. And they're going down the wrong way down the wrong way down the wrong. Oh shit! Oh my goodness! It's lit. It's lit. Okay, so and it's a set of people who don't like the way another set of people is choosing to exercise their freedom of speech and their freedom to assemble. And so this is what's gonna happen. If people are found not guilty, that sets the precedent that that sets the precedent for when other court proceedings happen. If someone is arrested for walking on a crosswalk, once the court and the trials come to point to the trial of someone being found innocent as to why they have the right to walk on a crosswalk. The same thing for the sirens and a litany list of things that have happened during these protests that we are about to go to trial for. The second thing that happens about that second thing that is also a possibility is that people are found guilty of these things, in which case we live in a city in which people are being penalized and criminalized for exercising their rights to freedom of speech and their rights to assemble. And so who wants to move to a city in which that you can't protest, you can't have freedom of speech, you can't have freedom to assemble?
I'm glad you said that, because as a business consultant, this is what I do as a business consultant.
Well, let me say this too. There are some people who want to live in cities, racist people who do want to live in cities like that. Florida is passing anti-protest laws. Multiple states are passing anti-protest laws. But again, if you are putting on a marketing campaign to attract people here, you are not going to attract the people who don't like protesters when they see that if you come here, you got to deal with people protesting. Because we gonna continue protesting because these issues gonna continue to manifest. And then you also not gonna attract people who want to be liberal and not liberal, but who want to be progressive thinking and progressive leaning when they see these things are happening.
Well, watch this. Somebody's gonna pull this lab up and probably chop it up and make it into a clip, or probably make it a beat. Watch this.
Ain't nobody. The people don't be doing that.
We have. I hope they do, because the irony of what I'm about to say, somebody 6 months to a year from now is gonna say, "This guy knew what he was talking about." We live in a city that has a justice center downtown that has monetized people, and a portion of Rockford's economic base comes from this justice center, and the whole process thing, court system, bail, bond, you name it. Now, with that being said, now we have them with a budget to market bringing people to the city. But we all know the mechanism that media serves to paint the picture that you have a crime-ridden city so you can keep your budgets as high as they are. So now Rockford's automatically putting itself at odds with itself by saying, how do we keep these black folks in front of the camera saying, it's horrible, we need more money, we need more cops, we need more SUVs, we need more bullets, we need more SWAT teams. How do you keep these budgets up? Because they're not shrinking. How do you keep these budgets up and still entice people to come to the city when you're painting in the local media, this is horrible, this is a war zone?
It is a war zone.
Picture that.
It's much worse.
Picture that.
That's because all the people dead.
This city's gonna focus on a marketing campaign, but yet they're losing sight of the fact that every night when you turn on the media, you literally, based on local news, you would think only black people are committing any crime, because that's all they show locally. This is a Rockford, this, and it's the psychological, it's a war zone, it's a war zone, it's a war zone. Well, good luck with that 300,000, because now you're fighting against yourself. You got your little gravy train with the Justice Center and those pennies because of the deal that you sold the soul of the city with and its future aspirations for incarceration dollars instead of corporate America dollars.
Even though corporate America dollar is not good either. Fuck corporate America. Corporate America is corrupt as fuck too. Corporate America is racist too.
Even mom and pops, just people.
But I know what you said, but I understand
trying to make a living.
Your point. You're trying to make a point. You're making a greater point.
But
we should just also point out that corporate America is just as fucking corrupt as the institutions
Oh,
in
yeah.
America are,
They're
just as
behind the
racist and
policy.
prejudiced.
Yeah.
They are the ones, and honestly, corporate America is the ones who got their hands up the ass of these politicians
Like
anyways.
Lockheed Martin,
Right.
that's who owns
Yeah.
me.
Well, then
What's that
I'll change that
Lockheed
phrase because I
Martin,
really
it's a company
the
that
context. I wasn't talking about
foster care.
corporations. I was talking about businesses
Really?
flourishing
Company
in
that puts
Rockford.
up
So
the
I
money
will
behind
adjust
foster
that
care.
statement.
Okay.
But I'm all
They
for
counted me and my
businesses,
kids
small
in.
businesses growing, thriving, and making a community. 60 to 80% of all jobs are generated through small business. So I'll rephrase that because that's really at the heart of what I'm passionate about. I want to see small businesses grow because they're the ones that are going to put the people, the citizens of Rockford to work and create jobs for them.
Right.
But when you're killing those opportunities,
Right.
it's hard to justify a future when you're literally, the media has done a great job of making it look like a war zone.
Rockford
How did they get an
citizens
extra
go
$3 million
other
this
places
year?
and have
Because of the protests last
That
year.
is true. That's
They
very
let their brilliant citizens leave and go make other cities great.
Rockford could have had a major college and said, no, we're gonna have an incarceration center. We're gonna be defined by incarceration.
They sent all
But
their
somehow we're gonna
geniuses
market
to prison.
ourselves as if with this caring utopia of all inclusiveness, we're gonna somehow package that, knowing that we are defined now and forevermore, unless it changes, we are defined as an incarceration city.
City, yep, this is
So how do
jail
you
city.
spend $300,000 to convince people otherwise when that's a fact? That is a fact.
Growing up in Rockford, I went to jail when I was 8 years old. I've been to jail about 50 times in my life. I've been to jail lots and lots of times in my life because if they can't handle me or if I say something they don't like, and remember it used to be my clothes. If I wear something they don't like and people don't want to deal with me, then I go to jail. So this has been how I grew up.
Well, and this was the point. I'm glad you said that. This is the point that I wanted to make because I had to make this point to someone on the street. We have the world watching. Now, I know people have their opinions about Rockford. This is not about Rockford. Me being involved with this is not about Rockford. Him being involved with this is not about just a Rockford situation. I want to prove this once and for all for anyone watching that disagrees. It's not about feelings or emotions. The world has already said publicly that how America's police force collectively, I don't want to hear about good cops, collectively, the world has already addressed this and said collectively how America's police force polices its black and brown people are crimes against humanity.
It is.
I'm going to say that again. The world has said how America polices its black and brown people. They have all collectively said how your police force, as a unit, as a national force, these are crimes against humanity. That's not something you take lightly. That's not an opinion. That's not just something somebody comes up with. When you have India, China, North Korea, England, France, Switzerland, you have the whole world saying, we're watching you. And this is how we are viewing you. We are viewing you. Crimes against humanity.
Yep, it is. I've been saying that for years. 'cause I
America
feel
has
like
gone to
what-
war
they
and
took
dropped
my
bombs on
country.
nations for crimes against humanity. Get that point. America has dropped bombs and killed millions of civilians for the sake of crimes against humanity. America can go all over the world and fight for the sake of people's rights, their dignity, and their lives because it's fighting against crimes against humanity, except when it's at home.
Yeah.
That's true.
Except when it's at home. This is where we're at right now as a nation. The world has said, we have watched you over the last year. You have been on completely a global stage, uncensored, because of, thank God to the internet, uncensored. You couldn't package this. You couldn't put it on CNN, CNBC. It was coming out live, unfiltered. People were using their cell phones. You saw it the way that it was happening. And the world said, this is uncalled for and unacceptable. So for anyone in America to say, well, it's not that bad, or maybe that's just their opinion, the world has made this decision that it's crimes against humanity. So at this point, what is Rockford going to do? What is Illinois going to do? What is America going to do to address this? This is not about opinions or what people think. Now let's deal with the fact of the matter. What is going to happen to make this change?
No. And again, that's facts.
paper that says that me and my children were part of a planned execution against African American people. Something that was planned before I was even born, because I don't feel like I had a chance to raise my kids properly. And I feel like even though I went through their little programs, completed their little service plans and all that, they never intended to give me my kids back. They was trying to sell my kids, and that's how my youngest one ended up murdered. In a group home on a little island off the coast of Florida.
Wow.
Far, far away from where she was supposed to be.
Wow.
So yeah, and that was 10 days after I left Florida. So after they kept me there 20 years, and I finally got away, 10 days later my daughter was dead. And they say I'm crazy. And this all goes back to, I worked for the Department of Children and Families.
Wow.
Back when I was young, it was one of those JTPA jobs. And then so many people was calling in on me, I guess it just made me a target after that. It's like, damn. You know, and I've always been a good person, always been doing good things. I never stopped doing charities and everything, because they can't change me.
White
I think that's
supremacist
why they
ideology is a psychosis. It is a mental illness.
It is.
It is a mental and spiritual illness.
Wrong with me.
No, it's them.
You know, they have a lot of people saying, they would even tell me, don't wear that, don't talk that way, you can't look white people right in the face. I'm like, really? For me, I feel like I'm gonna look anybody in the face when I'm talking to them. Because how you know I'm talking to you? I'm looking over here. You know, that's just respect to me. But I went to a place where the black people walk like this. And I felt bad about that. And I thought I would never do that. And so that's what they want us all to be, docile. And we don't care. We just, oh well, it's just good enough. But no, not for me. It ain't good enough for me. I will always come out here and support you.
You always did.
You know, I'm not gonna always be like, I work with some groups, but I'm an individual. And what I've been through, where I'm going, I can only go. So it's not like I can only I'm helpful and supportive, but a lot of these groups, they want our numbers, they don't want our issues.
No, that's a fact.
You know, I'm careful with them.
That's a fact.
And I don't like sharing groups.
No, I'm gonna see y'all later. We'll see y'all later. Y'all be safe. Y'all safe. Thank you. Love y'all. Love y'all, sisters. Love it. Thank you. Thank you. And again, you know, so we're here live from Occupy City Hall. This is Rockford, Illinois, Occupy City Hall. We've been out here for 252 days. Actually, what time is it? What time is it, Kay? It's 1:01, so we've been out here for 253 days. We have been outside of the City Hall in Rockford, Illinois for 253 days. We came out here because 254 days ago, Tyrus Jones, unarmed black man, was shot while running away by the Rockford Police Department. That shooting was ruled to be justified 2 months later, and that police officer was sent back out onto the streets. We stayed occupying through October, November, December, and into January, and then on January 5th, Denzel Duvant was assaulted at the hands of the Rockford Police Department, and an officer named Dominic McNeese was involved in the assault of Denzel Duvant. And Dominic McNeese was the officer who shot Tyrus Jones while he was running away, which lets you know that this is a person with a clear pattern of violence. One of the issues that divided the community during the Tyrus Jones shooting was that Tyrus Jones would later be charged with I don't know the allegedly would be charged with allegedly being involved in a murder that took place. That was used as a tactic for divisiveness. There were press conferences that were done. There were stories that were written after the fact, and it was used as a tactic. Never mind the fact that when Tyrus Jones was shot,
The officer said that he believed he saw a gun, even though he never saw a gun, which points to the fact that this officer was negligent. Never mind the fact that this officer opened fire in the midday around other cars, which also points to negligence. Never mind the fact that this officer shot this man in the back, shot this man as he was running away, which exemplifies maliceness. These are all things which which need to be isolated and dealt with in an isolated manner. Tyrus Jones is now in the process of going through the court proceedings, as anybody charged with allegedly being involved in a crime in this country is. So that process has happened for Tyrus Jones. However, Dominic McNeese, who shot Tyrus Jones, has no process happening for the actions that he took. Dominic McNeese not only has no process happening, he's being rewarded and being told he did the right thing. And so when he goes back onto the streets within months, he's involved in another one of these incidents of police terrorism, because he's been told by not only the institution of the police department, but the institution of the state's attorney's office, and the institution of the city of Rockford government, and the institution of the Winnebago County government, that he's doing the right thing. Right. Which also,
back to the system.
Again, which is back to the system, and but it back to the system, like you said, 100%, and it also points to the lack of accountability and the impunity that exists within this community specifically, because when the state's attorney gets up there and okays, and the chiefs of police okays, and then the mayor sends out a Facebook post later okaying the shooting of minorities in the back, the shooting of minorities for running away, when no one has the decency to say the name of the victim who was shot. And that is what Tyrus Jones was when he was shot. And when he was shot, he was a victim. In the shooting, in the situation between Dominic McNeese and Tyrus Jones is the victim. Being a victim in any specific situation is not a character, is not a look into somebody's character. When somebody becomes victimized, in the moment of their victimization, that is not the moment in which you try to look to see what their character is made of, or see what decisions they are making, or see whether you like this person or you don't like that person. When someone is a victim, they're a victim. That point blank period. If someone is robbed on the street, once they are robbed, you do not, when it's time to investigate their robbery, you do not stop trying to investigate the robbery if you find out they robbed somebody else before. Or if you found out they just cheated on their girlfriend. Or if you found out they just got in a fight earlier. That does not negate the fact that they were robbed. Now, if you want to go look into the fight that they were in later on, and then if you and investigate that as an isolated incident, and then you want to, and then in that position, they're doing the victimization. Okay, that's fine. You look into that incident, but the incident in which they were the victim is not negated from that. And so the same thing happens with Tyrus Jones. Anything that happened in Tyrus Jones' past, or anything that would happen in his future, is negated in the moment in which he is shot down in the streets by a police officer while he is unarmed and he is running away. And you isolate that specific incident and you look into that. And you think about the implications that okaying that happens. Because even though maybe you are personally fine with Tyrus Jones being shot while he's running away, but okaying it institutionally, okaying it systematically and systemically, leads to Jose Gonzalez Jr. being shot while running away on April 11th by the same police department.
Absolutely.
And it leads to, because people are okay with the mayor not saying the name of Tyrus Jones for whatever specific reason they have, it leads to the mayor feeling like it's okay for him to not say the name of Jose Gonzalez Jr. when he is shot.
It leads to crimes against humanity.
Exactly, 100%. And it leads to, and now they've okayed Tyrus Jones being shot while running away, which means inevitably someone else was going to be shot while running away. Jose Gonzalez Jr. was shot while running away. We sit in a moment in which these cases have been completed by the Winnebago Boone Integrity Task Force investigation. Those are complete. I can 100% guarantee you that they're justified. If they was doing FanDuel, or what's the other sports betting thing? Is FanDuel? What's the other one? FanDuel. It's another one. I don't know.
That's the main
one. If it was a FanDuel and it was some type of odds on whether it was justified or not justified, put the house on justified. Put the whole house on Justified. You're going to make a lot of money because I promise you, as long as the police behind the trigger in this city and in this county, it has always been Justified. Since 1990, we have looked back as an organization. We have researched and looked back, and at least on average 2 times a year in the Rockford and Winnebago County area, there's either an in-custody death or a police shooting or some type of murder that takes place at the hands of the law enforcement. Each time, it is always Justified. That's twice a year on average since 1990 up to 2021, and each time Justified twice a year. And so we have at least 50 plus counts. 50 plus counts, because you got to remember this. Sometimes, some years for the average to be 2, some years it might be low, which means some years it's high. In 2012, 3 people were murdered by the Rockford Police Department. Demetrius Bennett, Logan Bell, Demetrius Bennett, Logan Bell. I'm missing the third person. I hate when I do this. Demetrius Bennett, Logan Bell. Damn, I hate when I do this. No, Michael Sago was the year before. Somebody will say it in the comments. And again, I'm sorry for getting these dates mixed up. But again, that is how many times Philip Johnson, Demetrius Bennett, and Logan Bell were all murdered in 2012. So my point is that we have at least 50 plus cases in which police officers have either shot somebody, murdered somebody, or in their custody somebody has died or has some type of violent action happen to them that is documented. These are not the things that aren't even documented. Yep, Antar said Philip Johnson was the third. These are the things that are documented. 50 plus since 1990, and we live in 2021, and at least 3 times this year, it's already happened. So we above the average. Above the average halfway through the year. Denzel Duvant January, and in April they did a double play. Murdered Faustin Guaitigo and shot Jose Gonzalez Jr. while he was running away.
And this is Rockford's police response to doubling down on protesting against police brutality, excessive force, and racial profiling. Mm-hmm. That was the whole foundation.
They making sure they telling you we gonna keep shooting people. We gonna keep everything that we ever did before. Yes, anything they trying to make sure that they let everybody know ain't nothing changed in this motherfucker. They don't give no fuck about no George Floyd, no Jacob Blake, no Black Lives Matter, none of that shit. I see them driving down here all the time. I done interacted with them all the time, from top to bottom. From top to bottom.
Well, you saw with Maurice West,
corrupt,
with that bill, the police went nuts over qualified immunity. Oh, you can't take that out.
Oh no, they don't want to get rid of no qualified immunity.
But obviously, they didn't locally look at what they're doing on a national level. Mm-hmm. It seems like everybody's trying to do adjustments or reforms or investigations, except Rockford. They fought tooth and nail here against the qualified immunity in regards to the Maurice West. That piece of legislation, but that's conversation on a federal level to review qualified immunity. But the moment this piece of legislation became a very real substantive piece of legislation, a lot of people became up in arms. No one in America needs to have free reign to shoot people based on what you thought. And I use that loosely, what you thought to paint a picture of you feared for your life. But yet 200 white folks, hey, don't make it about race. We're talking about race. 200 white folks stormed the Capitol with the idea that something intangible was going to be taken or stripped from them, that it caused them to move in fear and anger. I'm going to lose something, so I'm going to take a stand because we can't let them take something from us. They stormed the Capitol. One lady gets shot. They're all told to stand down. No more shots fired inside the building. Everyone's allowed to leave the building, and they're still getting arrested as we speak. Do the research on the convictions. Donald Trump had already said that because he had in his mind, he was thinking protesters, mandatory sentence 10 years in prison with felony conviction. You get these people storming the Capitol. The average person is getting hit with a misdemeanor and no jail time. But we don't live in two different Americas. But everything's just the same. No. This is a fact. Yes, some people are getting felonies. But imagine if they were 200 terrorists. No one would have left that building.
That'd be in Guantanamo Bay getting tortured.
When I say terrorists, let me correct myself even before I say
because
that.
those are domestic
They
terrorists.
are terrorists.
Have a good night.
And I don't think any domestic terrorist or any terrorist, period, should get just misdemeanors or trespassing.
Well, we do want to say this that now we need to find ways outside of the prison industrial complex and outside of torturing people who are accused of those things. So even though again, this is where we get into some of the waters are complicated, and that's why it needs to be a dialogue had.
Absolutely.
Because we don't want to, in the midst of trying we don't want to perpetuate the criminal justice system. But because I know what you want to say is that it should be it should be something heavier that they are charged with because of the actions that they're taking place with.
Zip ties.
Yes,
Intent
and
to
again,
murder.
based on the things that have historically happened to other people for demonstrating, because we got felonies for crosswalks, felonies for all of these different things. It should be incumbent upon these institutions, if they are going to be equitable and equal,
Absolutely.
to behave in such a manner. However, but also we should say that these institutions, if they were to behave in such a manner, that would also not be justice, because the institutions are built to continue to perpetuate domestic terrorism like that. Because the things that happened on January 6th is nothing different than Tulsa, Oklahoma. It just looked different because it's 2021.
The reason why you don't have a lot of Republican politicians running an oversight committee, they were involved.
Of course, 100%.
They gave the rubber stamp.
That's 100%.
They gave the tours.
100%. That was part of it.
I know some people
Rudy Giuliani said, "Let's have trial by combat."
Right.
Rudy Giuliani got up there and said, "Let's have trial by combat." Imagine what would happen if at May 30th somebody stood up and said, "Let's have trial by combat." And then the things that happened after January 6th. Imagine if at City Market we used to say, "Let's have trial by combat," and people was to storm in the City Market later. So again, 100%. These people were 100% behind it. They have not hidden it. But as black people, and I want to make sure we point this out as well. As black people, as brown people, as poor people, working class people, we know that these things look like this overtly to us all the time.
Right.
It is always overtly to us.
Right.
The storming of the Capitol was no different than the storming of homes in black communities regularly.
Exactly.
And you can look up, and this is again another thing that you can see and look up. When you can look into the 60s and hear a speech from Malcolm X. Malcolm X was killed in 1965. It's a speech of Malcolm X's either in 1964 or 65, before the year he was killed, where he said, where the no-knock warrant is just now being passed, and he said the no-knock warrant is an anti-Negro law. It's used as a Gestapo tactic to bust into Negro homes. That's Malcolm X in 1960s talking about it. And last year, in the midst of a struggle to end police terrorism, mass incarceration, and racial injustice nationally, in the midst of the Black liberation struggle, which I would say the struggle to end police terrorism, mass incarceration, and racial injustice is a branch off of that Black liberation struggle, because that is only a portion of liberating black people, not only in Rockford but in nationwide. In the midst of that happening in 2021, that state just passed something that is allegedly going to stop no-knock warrants from being executed in their state anymore, executed in that city, in that area anymore, even though a plethora of other states will continue to have no-knock warrants executed until they have their Breonna Taylor, until the community reacts in the same way that it happened with Breonna Taylor, until the nation reacts to whoever that victim is in the manner in which they acted for Breonna Until those things happen, then other states will reckon with their laws. But that just goes to show you how deep these issues are. That goes to show you how
ingrained in how racist a lot of these laws are, and how for so many years they have been used for that. So many years they've been used that way.
Right.
This city last year executed multiple no-knock warrants into the wrong homes. And again, so we have to, those are, you know, so I want to go ahead, go what you was back, what you was on, but I just wanted to take the time to
But just
point that
as
out.
a reference point, the world watched that. But it gets handled completely differently. That
Yes,
was the simplicity of the point that I'm saying.
100%.
I mean, America has dropped bombs on nations.
And that's, again, I'm gonna let you keep
For
on
less.
going, but you know, and I was interjected to go along with that point by saying we have overtly seen Breonna Taylor's happen for decades.
Absolutely.
And for us, that is just as disturbing as it may have been for some of these liberal whites to see one time these people storm into this Capitol, this building that they hold in such regard and reclaim.
Right.
We've seen them storm into project buildings.
Right.
We've seen them storm into apartment complexes. We've seen them storm into people's homes. We've seen them storm into people's cars. We've
ripped
seen
apart.
them cars ripped apart. We've seen them storm into people's jobs, storm into schools.
Ruining lives.
I went in ruining, destroying lives for profit, not to keep communities safer.
Right. Not to build communities.
Not to build communities.
Not to protect communities.
Yes, you can look and see historically when there has never been a time in not only American history, but state history and this city's history in which the amount of policing and imprisonment made the violent crime and crime drop, and you can be able to consistently attribute to it.
Right.
There's been times when mass incarceration was high and crime was low, and times when mass incarceration was high and crime was high. There's been times when when the same thing has worked vice versa, and these things have been historically recorded. The thing that has been consistent, though, is that these states have always made money off of crime and off of mass incarceration. These institutions have always made money off of crime and mass incarceration, and so this is a business.
Exactly. Big business.
Big business. And that's why they shut the street down now to bring it back to City Market.
Back to corporate America. Corporate America owns the prison population.
100%.
We have for-profit prisons. Those companies are traded on the NASDAQ.
100%.
But yet, everything's equal and fair. But yet, there's quotas and numbers. Because of capitalism, no for-profit business exists other than to generate an income, to generate money coming into itself. So why would people try to tap dance around the fact that the prison industrial complex is in fact capitalism at its rawest form, where you're monetizing a person's human existence, their very existence.
Yeah.
And then deny the fact that because it's monetized that it can't be the same. It's exactly the same. It exists to generate a profit. So because its first and foremost precedent is the profit, how do you dovetail that or justify the appearance or the look of justice when you know that the first and foremost goal is profit, money?
What time are we looking at? 121. We gonna try to do a podcast too still. So I'm looking at this. This is like it's a. Sorry, I'm off. I'll say something. We want to do a podcast still too, and we got some good run in this. We got a good couple hours. We had some interaction. This was a good live. I think that. Again, we want to get into the groove of no matter who it is, no matter what it is, get into the groove of doing multiple lives in 24-hour periods on multiple platforms. We wanted to get in groove of putting out as much content as possible. We want to get into the groove of speaking on these issues and inciting these dialogues as often as possible to go along with our direct actions, to go along with our protests. And we want to get to a place of all of the voices of the organization being heard. We want to get to the place of all the voices of the community being heard. We want to get to the place where community members become members of the organization and become part of the organization. We want people to help to find their voice. Again, this is not an individual thing. This is not about one person. The May 30th Alliance is a collective. It's not Leslie in the May 30th Alliance. There's no backup dancers, no backup singers. There's no small roles. There's no lead roles. shows. This is an ensemble, and we want everybody that wants to be a part of it. Again, we're outside of City Hall. 24/7. There's always a member of the organization here. There are always members of the organization here. We want people to come out and engage in conversations and dialogues, healthy conversations and dialogues at proper times. And again, emphasis on healthy. We continuously chalk the areas of downtown because which is well within our rights. We ask people to please come out and pick up a piece of chalk, write something a message that is pertinent to you, or a message that resonates with you that you would like to put down about the struggle to ending police terrorism, mass incarceration, and racial injustice in the city of Rockford and America. If you write some bullshit, we will just erase it. Same thing for comments. If in any of these lives, in any of our videos, you're leaving racist, bigoted, pro-police type, any of those comments, we just gonna delete them, ban you, and move on. We're not gonna engage in the back and forth with these things. Our main thing is to try to get this out to as many people as possible and build the environment in which people can come to try to not only learn and get informed, but then eventually to engage and then become educated through that engagement. So anybody that's watching this video, please share this video. If you came in at the end, please go back and watch the whole thing. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're watching on Facebook, please like the page. Go back and watch all the videos on the Facebook page to get caught up on everything. All the videos on the YouTube page to get caught up on everything. If you want to donate, you can donate on Cash App. We are at $ May 30th Alliance. Again, that is $ MAY 30THALLIANCE, May 30th Alliance. On Venmo, PayPal, if you donate, on Venmo it is at May 30th Alliance, and then for PayPal is May 30th Alliance at protonmail.com. We will Food Truck Tuesday, we'll be there with pamphlets. City Market next Friday, we'll be there with pamphlets. I have court on Thursday personally. It is the conditions of my release. It is a violation for me to be arrested once I'm released, even whether I'm innocent or guilty of what I've been arrested for. So I have court on Thursday. It is possible that my bond will be remanded or possibly revoked. I say those things to say that whether I am or I am not at City Market on Friday, the City Market protest will continue. Whether I am or I am not at the occupation will continue.
The movement is not a man.
Again, the movement is not a man, a person. So again, I'm saying all those things to say that no matter who is seen or who is free or who is not free or who is under what circumstances, we must persevere and continue on. So those are all ways in which you can persevere in your own existence by sharing, subscribing, liking, and donating. All right, and you got any last thing you want to say real quick before you wrap it up?
I wanted to address comments about certain language and the chalk. Now, people writing comments, what has always struck me as odd is people are more concerned with comments in chalk by saying that by expressing how they say that makes them feel. I have always been struck with how a phrase in chalk makes a person feel more emotions than a person being gunned down in the streets of Rockford.
Yeah, that's true. We can dive deeper into that on the podcast. So again, May 30th Alliance, City Market next Friday, 4:00 p.m. You can meet us at City Hall, or you can meet us down there by R-Star, by the railroad tracks, or by wherever we're posted up at. Food Truck Tuesday, as long as the weather permits, we'll be at Nicholas Conservatory. We at the occupation 24/7. We outside. I'm gonna end it.